Hey guys, Brig here, and welcome to my alchemy guide for the end of Battle for Azeroth. I have been selling a few alchemy things over the past 24 hours, and we have 78,000, though this isn't all alchemy. Sold a few Tome of Illusions, which you would have seen in the enchanting video, but as you can see, there's quite a few flasks here which are selling, which is good. But yeah, we sold about 50,000 gold's worth of flasks without really undercutting very much, so not too bad at all. Alchemy has become a very tough profession, unfortunately, because of the tools of the trade. Now, for most professions, tools of the trade is kind of irrelevant, but for alchemy, it is everything. So that's my main thing, of course, is first of all, make sure you do get the tools of the trade item, which is Silas's Sphere of Transmutation. And the reason this is so important is because it increases the yield that you get from different flasks when you're making them. So basically, some people can make a lot of profit with flasks and some people can't, depending on whether you have the Silas and depending if you get the right proc. So we are going to click it right now. And yay, we get Silas's Potion of Prosperity, which increases your chance to create extra items from your Zandalari Alchemy recipe list. And basically, with alchemy now, the only way to make profit, at least if you're on a high pop server, is to use this. You have to get the tools of the trade, you have to get the Silas's Potion of Prosperity, then you have to use it, and you have 10 minutes to get crafting. Luckily, you can use it 3 times before it runs out, because it has a 20-minute cooldown and it lasts 1 hour. So you can get 3 times uses out of it. And what happens is basically it increases the chance of your procs. And to show you guys what difference this makes, if you look now at the normal flasks, they're all minus 160, minus 70, minus 80, minus 120. I'm losing gold if I craft them. And now, after my magic, I make a small profit with some of these items. Flask of the Currents, a solid 1 gold, and Flask of the Undertow, 48 gold. And I have done that magic by changing my TSM settings, which is something I suggest all of you do for alchemy. So what you want to do is you want to go onto your alchemy operation for crafting and change the craft value to 1.75 dbmarket. So this basically means for every 1 you craft, you should get 1.75 on average in return if you have rank 3 and you have the Silas's Potion up. As many of you will know, if you have rank 3 of the flasks, that gets you 1.5 times the average. So every time you craft 1, you'll on average get about 1.5 back. But when you add Silas on top of that, it equals about 1.75. And that's how we managed to change our negative values into a bit of positive profit. And this is why I think that Silas's Potion has kind of ruined alchemy, because basically people now only craft lots of flasks when they get the proc, and it just means you've got to wait and make use of RNG just to craft flasks, and it just means that any other time you want to craft, it's not profitable to do so. It's really annoying. I don't like it. I'm sure on medium pop servers and other servers you can still make profit even without. Well, now that's out of the way, let's go over alchemy. So for Bfa Alchemy, it's all the classic stuff, all the different pots, obviously the superior ones and the greater flasks. They're all the kind of new potions that were added, so make sure you're crafting them. But actually I found that both sell. So both the normal flasks and the greater flasks will sell. So don't just forget about the normal flasks because you think they've been replaced by the greater ones. Actually, the normal flasks do sell, as do the utility potions such as the Lightfoot Speed Potion and the Invisibility Potion. So don't forget about those either. Then of course there are the transmutations, but none of those are very exciting or very profitable for Bfa, unfortunately. And that is basically that for Bfa Alchemy. It's just all the usual stuff, and like I say, I just think it's kind of been ruined by the tools of the trade, and I think that on many high pop servers right now there's just no way you can make gold with it. Even if you only craft with the Silas proc up, you still can't even make much profit. So those are my suggestions for Bfa Alchemy. If you do want to get it, make sure obviously you have the Silas, and if you're using TSM, make sure you've included the Silas proc into your TSM profits, or there's never going to be any profit shown, which is not going to be fun for you one bit. For Alchemy, at least on my servers, the one thing that can make you gold is Old World Alchemy. One of my favorites is Vial of the Sands, which is one of the fastest selling mounts in the game. You can literally sell a few per day on a good day, at least one per day. And if you do have this, it's obviously a pretty rare recipe. You have to do a lot of archaeology to get it. I'm sure you guys can look up some Vial of the Sands guides if you do want to get it, but it's pretty boring farming all the archaeology. But I did do it, and I do have it. So that is something that you can look at. And if you can get the mats cheap on your server, again, maybe find a farmer who can farm it for you for cheaper. You can make sort of at least 10,000 gold on most servers through selling this. And like I say, if you can sell sort of 5 or 6 or 7 a week, then that's sort of 50,000 a week just from Vial of the Sands, which is pretty good. So that's definitely something to think about. But if you don't like archaeology or you don't like farming, then getting the recipe is going to be pretty annoying for you. Now, if people are wondering why some of the old world potions sell, I'm not entirely sure sometimes. Sometimes they're used for other profession recipes or quest items. So that's very occasionally why they sell. And other times they're used by people who are leveling up and want to completely min-max. And if someone's leveling, they can't use the Bfa potions, so they'll use a sort of smaller potion. And if you ask why do people buy potions for leveling, well, it's the same reason people buy enchants for leveling. They're just obsessed with min-maxing, and people do it. But yeah, stuff from Legion still sells, particularly some of the utility potions, such as the Skystep potion. Some of the Draenor flasks still sell pretty well. And particularly the kind of intellect flasks. I don't know why, but I've had some luck selling those. Same with some of the Mr. Pandaria flasks, sell fairly well, considering they're obviously very old, but people do buy them, and some of them sell for a really nice profit. And when I say these potions sell, I obviously don't mean they sell regularly, but I'm just saying they sell often enough to make it worth sort of making 10 or 20 of them and putting them on the auction house, because you will see pretty steady sales. Stuff from Kata, such as the Potion of Treasure Finding, is a really nice money maker for some steady gold, and different elixirs as well. And then Transmutes we will talk about, because Transmutes are another great little feature that alchemists have. Favorite one on my server is True Gold, where you can turn 3 Pyrian bars into the True Gold. This can be done as many times per day as you want, and it can be very profitable, particularly if you have a Transmutation Master, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Then there are of course the other transmutes, such as Living Steel or Pyrian Bar, which can only be done once per day. Usually people like to do Living Steel, but it kind of depends on the server. So see what's profitable and then use that as your daily transmute. And yeah, some people still don't know that specializations in alchemy are still a thing. So you can specialize in specific sort of elixirs or transmutes, or I think flasks or potions. So you can specialize in one of those, and that will help you to get extra sort of procs occasionally. Usually the best one to go for is Transmutation Mastery, because then when you're doing transmutes, you have the chance to get extra procs. And when you're doing something big like a Living Steel transmute and you get extra procs, it can be fairly profitable. These specializations don't do anything for BFA, so if you've got like Transmutation Master, it's not going to proc you more things in BFA, but it still does work for the older content. So yeah, my suggestion would be go to Stormwind or Orgrimmar, do the small quest, where you just have to hand in a few items and then become a master in one of the alchemy specializations, and I suggest probably doing transmutation, just so you can get some extra procs on things like True Gold and Living Steel. So I mean, that's it guys. Make sure you get the tools of the trade, make sure you get a Alchemy Specialization, probably Transmutation Master, and make sure you look outside of BFA to craft some things, particularly some of the old world sort of Mr. Pandaria, Cataclysm, Draenor and Legion can sell pretty well. Some of those utility potions and even some of the just general potions, they can sell pretty good. And yeah, if you couldn't tell, I don't really like Alchemy. I mean, it's always really good at the start of expansions, but towards the end of expansions it usually falls down because there's just so much competition and not enough people who are wanting the flasks. Lots of people have quick progression raiding, and that's kind of the time when you use the flasks the most. So I don't really like it, and particularly when you're on a high pop server, it's just so difficult to get profit from it, particularly with the stupid tools of the trade thing that they've added in. But if you follow the steps in this guide, you should be able to make some gold from it, and maybe you're on a better server than mine and it's actually really good. Let me know if you like Alchemy anyway. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, see ya.